Hello everyone, this is KID and the Man bringing you another model kit review of the Figurized Standard Kamen Rider Kuuga Dragon Form, or the Rising Dragon Form, whichever you prefer to build. As usual, this is a plastic model kit, which requires 3 things from you: to build, to paint, and occasionally apply some color correcting stickers. This is a P-Bandai model kit, which oddly enough is actually being sold in retail stores here in Malaysia, and that's how I got it. I have delayed this video long enough since its release, so without further ado, let's get started. Like all of Bandai's model kits, the sculpting of this figure is amazing. Although almost 80% of it is similar to the Mighty form, at least there is an important distinction other than the color blue, and that would be its wife beater. I mean vest, or tank top, whatever you want to call it. The head of the figure is the same as the Mighty form, with the only difference being the visor molded in blue. As usual, there's a foil sticker at the back of the visor to reflect the compound eyes design. I didn't put the forehead gem sticker because light piping. The torso of the figure has a nice clean lean look to it. That's because the dragon form is meant to be more faster and more agile than the Mighty form. Hence why there's less bulk on the armor to provide mobility. The sides of the armor is molded in a light blue plastic. From the product shots, it's meant to be a more metallic blue color instead. So this really isn't color or show accurate, so you might need to custom paint it, just to give it a more show accurate look. As for the shoulder pads, they're just molded in simple plain black plastic, because every rider needs shoulder pads. The forearm of the figure is the same one we got from the Mighty form, but just molded in a semi-glossy blue plastic. Just like my previously reviewed Kuuga kits, I painted the dot on the golden wrist cuffs in its respective color, instead of just using the provided stickers. This time with a metallic Gundam marker, just to make it a little more show accurate. The Arco driver is the exact same one as we got from the previous Kuuga iterations, but now it has a clear blue plastic in the middle to help you differentiate the forms. Of course, feel free to paint the belt instead of using the stickers. His skinny legs hasn't changed, but we do get some nice knee guards in blue. I painted the leg cuffs with the same metallic blue Gundam marker for consistency. His boot has the same patterns, and here's his back with the familiar tailbone peg hole. When it comes to model kits, they're gonna be lighter than your regular action figure. That's mostly due to how hollow the figure is when you're removing the parts from the runners. And no matter how hard you try, you're gonna have nut marks and seam lines. There's no change in the quality of the black plastic and gold-plated parts, so some sanding is required. For regular model kit builders, we're familiar with this kind of blue plastic, which is infamous for having very obvious nut marks. If you're not careful, you'll see white spots on where the nubs used to be. So take your time removing them, or repaint it if you like. For the legs, we get some obvious seam lines on the black plastic. To remove them, you'll need to use some model kit cement to seal it up and sand it down after. From a distance, you won't notice them, but up close, they're pretty obvious. Now, one minor gripe I have about this set is that it makes you choose the forms you want to build. What I mean by this is that you're gonna have to choose which sticker or paint to apply for the bottom of the vest. For the dragon form, this area should be a metallic blue, or should use the blue foil stickers to wrap around it. If you're someone on a budget but like to change forms to take some really cool action poses, you're gonna have a bad time. Since we only have one unit of the vest, you're forced to decide to use either the blue or the gold foil stickers for the Rising Dragon form. Business-wise, I understand it. Generally, model kit builders would build their kits as perfect as possible. Bandai took advantage of this by making you get 2 sets, so you get a chance to avoid the SH Figuarts purchase. My advice for you budget collectors out there, keep an eye out for a second-hand kit in the aftermarket. You can customize it to your heart's content, like what I did for my Rising Mighty form in my previous review. He comes with fists, relaxed posing hands, standard posing hands, thumbs up this video hand, weapon holding hands, and the short and extended staff. Both of the staffs are molded entirely in blue plastic. The extended one is for the dragon form, while the shorter one has X for the Rising Dragon form parts. Majority of the stickers we got are the color correcting stickers for the weapons. But because of how the weapons are, you are required to wrap the stickers around it, which isn't my thing. I plan to custom paint mine, so I have to forego the blue foil logo sticker. To ensure I don't make a mistake in painting, I mark the areas I need to paint in gold. You can use the paint of your choice, but if you want to follow what I do, here's the paint I'm using. Before we get into the Rising Dragon form, it's worth noting that there will be extra parts available on the runners since it's using similar molds. In my previously reviewed Amazing Mighty kit with the Rising Mighty parts, those parts include the gold bands for the forearms just so you can use it on the Rising Dragon form. Bandai remade the entire mold just for the gold bands, leaving you with enough parts for the torso of the Rising Mighty. If you want to, feel free to upgrade your base form Kuuga or Onodera's Kuuga just so you can have a semi-Rising Mighty form. You even have an extra Rising Arkle and other parts, but sadly you can't use them. It's still cool though. Speaking of extra parts, in my last review I accidentally broke the connector piece on the shoulder, making it slightly loose. But now we have an extra shoulder part, which can be used to replace the existing broken piece. And now my Rising Mighty Kuuga is perfect. Here he is next to the Amazing Mighty Kuuga, the Dino Fury Green basic figure, Legacy Collection Movie Blue, Metallic Armor Blue Ranger, and Decade. Since Decade's here, you can use the Belt Adapter C on Kuuga. You all should know how to do this by now, right? Now you have Decade as Kuuga's dragon form. So here are the parts you need that comes with this set to build your own Rising Dragon form. Model kits tend to wear off their friction the more you rub on them, so to make sure they stick on the figure, I'm just gonna change forms once and keep it that way after the review. And here we have the Rising Dragon form Kuuga. No changes to the head because, duh, the semi-glossiness of the blue really pops due to the gold-plated parts. You really have to be careful when installing the gold-plated parts to avoid any types of scratches. One thing to take note of is that the collar of the figure is difficult to remove after installation. This is due to how the sides of the collar has a 45-degree angled bump. So constant removal or the switching of parts will inevitably wear it out, making it loose in the future. So you gotta apply the one and done principle for this set. As for the shoulders, the nut marks on the blue plastic is unavoidable, since that's the main issue with that kind of plastic. You can't really use the cheat code I mentioned in my past reviews due to how the part comes off the runner, but that's fine. Some of the gold plated parts are actually undergated, where the nut marks aren't visible from the front and doesn't damage the gold plated look. I really wish all specially made parts are like that, but at least it looks like Bandai is learning, so that's good. The forearm is a reused mold from the Rising Mighty, obvious nut marks there, but an important issue to mention here would be the black plastic on top of the gold armband. It's really difficult to remove and there's only one set of them in the kit. Trying to remove them by force might damage the gold parts, and if you break it, you don't have any replacements. So here's hoping we get extra pieces in future Kuuga kits, just like that shoulder piece I mentioned earlier. There are new back plates for the hands, and just like the Rising Mighty, we only get 4 of them. It's actually molded with the logo design on it, and the sticker installation is easy. It's not enough to go around for the hands, but since these are the Mighty Form's posing hands, I think we can manage. Here's the same Rising Arkle that we've seen before, and we'll see again in future sets. Now that enough time has passed, I managed to paint the weapons. Full disclaimer, I'm not much of an artist, so this is the best I can come up with. Mistakes are easily made when painting these unless you apply some masking tape on the areas that doesn't need painting. The sigils should be painted in metallic blue, and the hieroglyphics should have some red in them. Maybe someday I'll paint it. Of course, there are many different ways to paint your model kits, so feel free to use the methods you're comfortable with. The Rising form comes with attachments to change the staff into a double-sided spear. It's a very simple installation process that even babies can do it. If you didn't learn it as a toddler, I'm sure you'll learn it after puberty. Like pegging. And now you have the Rising Dragon Spear. And I gotta say, I'm glad I painted the weapons. It looks very shiny. Here's Defy's XL form, Dino Fury Gold, another staff user, 2017 movie blue, and Decade. And of course, you can change forms. So all in all, this set is pretty awesome. Despite all the issues I mentioned earlier, I'm glad Bandai decided to make different forms of Kuuga. Maybe because it's their first Heisei rider, or that there isn't much of a difference in the form changes. Whatever it is, I'm down for it. Standard articulation for the set. Hope you like that I moved the segment here. And I was really wondering something. Should I make room on the shelf? So if you like this video, blast that like button, leave a comment down below, let me know your fears and pains about this model kit, share this video with your friends and family to let them know I'm covering P-Bandai model kit releases, and consider subscribing, as it would really help the channel. This is KID and the Man, and since anything goes, I'll see you all next time.